Hello and welcome to a special bonus episode of Random Movie Roulette. I'm Lewis.
I'm old. Look at yourself, old man.
Yeah, we saw M. Night Shyamalan's Old tonight. This is going to be a quick review. You know, it's going to be spoiler free, so if you haven't seen it yet, don't really worry about it. We're just going to give some first impressions, having literally just seen it like 2 hours ago. We just got out of the theater.
So going into this movie, where M. Night Shyamalan, just his previous movies were like The Split and Glass, like that whole series, that combination or whatever movies that he made. So it was like, all right, what's he gonna do next? Because I know a lot of people who are like, oh, Split was his return to form, and I thought it was just perfectly okay, nothing too special about it. But then, so we're looking at this movie, the premise sounded pretty interesting, where it's like this family on this resort, and then they're on this beach, which makes people age rapidly, and it's like, oh, what's the mystery? What's going on with this beach? And then you go on and wonder, what is it about? And then so I think this isn't the worst of M. Night Shyamalan's movies.
No, not by
like
a long
again,
shot.
like there's a really low bar to clear for that, but it is the one that made me like finally just be like, all right, dude, I think you got to give it up at this point, like.
Yeah, man. I really like The Visit. I think that was like the best movie he's made in a very, very long time. I wasn't wasn't like crazy about Split. I had like no expectations really going into this. I would like to say I keep giving him the benefit of the doubt, though I think that kind of ends now. I'm pretty over it. I don't want to like go through this with him again. There's like just like a lot of like fundamentally bad filmmaking in this movie that like is kind of a huge bummer. There are like very few fleeting moments of like genuine like disturbing imagery and kind of scary stuff, but I don't think it really functions that well as a horror film. There's some body horror stuff, but I think actually the way they display the aging is really underwhelming in most cases.
Yeah. Like, it's very infrequent on a scene-to-scene basis of, like, how the aging is affecting all the characters. Like, it always seems like whatever character is in question in this scene, they're gonna be, like, the one who, like, we're gonna show the aging effects on them only. And it's, like, there are portions of the movie where, like, characters go, like, a very long time without showing any aging whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's not until somebody addresses them by name and what their distinction is that they start to show aging effects.
Yeah, I mean, like, they make it pretty clear early on that, like, they're constantly aging, like, really rapidly, but you don't see that. Like, you're just...
You see it more with the kids, and you're like, okay, well, kids at a younger age visibly
you're not
age
seeing
more.
Active aging at any point. It just will cut back to different actors who are now those characters. You know, it's not like there's never an effect of like you see like wrinkles appearing on someone's face. It's not that. And I get it. That could be corny. I get why you would want to avoid it, but it felt really bizarre for the rules that they set up for this beach in particular. You know, it didn't really seem to work. Also, if we're talking about Shyamalan's like ability to direct, like we get a lot of terrible performances out of some really good actors that we know are capable of turning out like great performances, and I have to think that's on him.
Yeah, like honestly, like I think it's also just like the stilted delivery of all of the dialogue, because also the way that this movie is written, it's written like an M. Night Shyamalan movie where it feels like people who have never talked to another human being before in their life.
So M. Night Shyamalan does another one of his like director cameos in this movie, and like it winds up being like too important to the plot to like not be weird, and I didn't like it at all. And also the twist is there. Like we're not going to tell you what the twist is.
Yeah,
but...
see, here's the thing: is that I don't even know if this is like a twist. Even it's just like
but the movie
an
seems...
explanation for what is happening,
yes.
which is a lot of the case with a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies, where it's like the village. Like, is that really a twist, or is that just an explanation of like what this is?
I mean, I think the village that counts as more of a twist than this. Like, but this is treated as a twist. Like, and it's revealed in a way that the third act is so muddled. And rushed almost in a way, and like it doesn't do enough to like when they do reveal what is going on, it doesn't feel satisfying, and it doesn't really seem to add anything to the struggle of the main characters. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really change your perception of what was happening to them. And it also, this movie doesn't ever really approach saying anything.
Yeah, because it's like, it seems like it's approaching ideas about mortality and, like, you know, the life that is flashing before you and you don't have time to appreciate it, but it's like none of that is really ever reflected on in any like real significant way. It's just kind of like, again, it just kind of flashes past that very awkwardly a lot of times. Like, there'll be a moment where someone will be like, oh, we've aged so much or whatever, and that's about the extent to which they discuss their mortality. And also the characters, I didn't really like any of them. Like, as soon as they all got introduced, I was like, I cannot wait for all of them to inevitably die, because they were all very annoying and, again, not very endearing. And as I like, actors that we like Gael Garcia Bernal and Vicky Krieps, who are like, you know, given exceptional performances, but it seems as
even
if,
Alex
like,
Wolff, who we know is a talented young actor.
The things that they're asked to say and the manner in which they're asked to deliver them, it seems like, did you guys like just learn English and are reading all of your lines off of a cue card off screen? Like, yeah,
it never comes together. There's no chemistry between any of the cast, really. I wanted kind of more from the parent children relationships, but it never really comes to fruition. There is some disturbing imagery in there. Like, if you're a big body horror person, there's some moments that I think are cool and interesting, but there's not enough to carry the rest of the movie, certainly. And it's also kind of already, like, you know, tired. Like, been there, done that to an extent.
I mean, also, I think that also just as far as, like, this specific premise goes, I think that it does a real convoluted way of like wrapping things up, as we alluded to before, with like how it reveals what the ending is, and then like it does a lot of like, you know, jump backs and stuff to explain a lot of things that you're like, well, why did that happen? But
yeah, and it's weird too, because like it will jump back to things that happened like 5 minutes ago in the movie, and it's like, well, just show us that sequentially. Like there was no reason to show this out of order. Like, I think just like there's a lot of just like fundamental issues in scripting, in the filmmaking, and I do know that this is a production that was affected by COVID. I totally understand that, but like I don't think the movie should have been put out like this. It feels like it's missing something important, definitely story wise. You know, because it's like so light on scares, like I think it needs more of an emotional core than it actually has. And maybe there was something in the script that like didn't get shot or that had to be removed due to time and because of COVID limitations.
I mean, given that I know that Shyamalan is the only credited writer on this movie, I feel like
par for the course.
Yeah, I feel like this. I remember we came out of this movie and we're like, did he write this? And I'm like, I don't know, but it sure felt like he did, and sure enough, he is the only credited screenwriter. I'm like, yep, that was definitely an M. Night Shyamalan script that like got approved without any sort of like altercations.
Yeah, I think like I've always given him the benefit of the doubt. I think I'm officially done doing that.
Yeah, and
like,
it also sucks because like I know that like for the past like couple decades where he was just like this big punching bag, and it honestly felt like very mean the way that like the internet and like film culture as a whole kind of treated him. And it's not like I'm gonna say that like those films were like good or worth defending, but it's like it wasn't worth like ripping him apart and like the way that it is, and neither is this. But it is just like after a while I'm like, goddamn, like I want to support him, I want to like, you know, stick up for him, but like these movies are not doing it. Like
there's no real reason for it. There's certainly no longer a reason to make any sort of a big deal about an M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out, or even like putting his name in front of movies just seems like pointless, because that's not, it doesn't mean anything anymore. You know, I mean, I guess it still means that there will be some sort of twist at the end of the movie if that is important to you for some reason. But it certainly does not mean that you're going to be watching a good movie.
But especially now that with like M. Night Shyamalan, his brand is that there will be a twist. It's like, all right, for like his first movie when that came out and we didn't expect that was coming, and that was like a big surprise. But now it's like, if you know that every movie's going to have a twist, like aren't you already going in spoiled? Because
and aren't you going to be spending most of that movie like trying to figure out what it is before it comes? Like I feel like
you're probably going to come across like you're in your head like a possibility for what the eventual ending is going to be anyway. Like I think we kind of like maybe not exactly what the ending was, but we were like, all right, well, something's up with this. Yeah. Maybe it's this. Like,
and you know what? Like, granted, maybe that's on us for going into an M. Night Shyamalan movie expecting a twist. Maybe that's not what he wanted from this. But I think in the way it's presented, it's kind of hard to say otherwise. But, you know, I'm disappointed also, in just that, like, I feel like one of the great directors of my youth. And I am one of the people who really like The Sixth Sense, and one of the people who really like Signs, and one of the people who really like The Village. Even, like, I stuck around for that long. It's over. Like, I don't think he's got anything left to say, certainly. I don't think he's got any, like, more tricks up his sleeve.
I do think that does feel a point of him that does feel like he still has something that he needs to prove. Because
to prove, absolutely, because he's been dumped on for yeah.
It
10
feels like
now.
Every movie is like trying to be like his comeback.
Yeah,
and it's like everyone is just like kind of a strike. Like Split was a success, even though we were like, yeah, it was just like kind of a whatever movie. Yeah. But it does feel like, because I think that after Glass. Because Glass was like, oh, his follow-up to his big success, what's that going to be? And it was a big swing and a miss. And so now it's like, all right, well, now that he's not going to be doing something that's attached to, like, one of his franchises, what's his next original idea? Because, like, Split, his last original idea was good, and now it's like, oh.
Well, I mean, but then Glass was very not good.
Yeah, but I guess Glass couldn't get, like, you know, written off as, like, oh, well, it was a follow-up to, like, it was like a sequel or something.
Yeah,
but, like,
okay, sure. I don't know. I certainly don't want to see him handle IP ever. You know, like, I mean, I think he really blew that with
The Last Airbender movie really kind of killed any chance of that.
Especially because, like, what a softball you're being thrown as far as IP. Like, it's such a good IP. Like, everything that's good about it is so, like, there and clear and obvious. And, like,
I think
so
you're set
obvious
up for failure, honestly, with that, because the original is so good that no matter what you do with
all
it,
you have to do is not change it to stupid things. And that's exactly like he made so many unnecessary changes. There's no one to blame.
I feel
but
like
him.
Even the way that movie was made, though, even if he didn't, like, you know, change like the fundamental structures of like the show, it still would have been like a bad movie. Like, I don't think...
you can absolutely make a good Last Airbender movie, and you do it by just adapting what's there as it is, because it's good and it works that way. Just figure out where your beginning and end points are. You certainly don't need to change the rules at all. You don't need to change how any of the fucking characters' names are pronounced. A little thing, granted.
Again,
but
that's
so
not
stupid.
a thing that was like the fundamental problem with the movie.
No, but it's emblematic of the problem with the movie, where it's just like, why? Why are you doing it? Why are you changing the things that do not need changing? And why do you think you know better than the people who created it?
I mean, even still to this day, he'll defend the Last Airbender movie as like, you know, people didn't understand it, and it's like, no, I think that's the issue.
You didn't understand it was the problem. Yeah, we're like arguing with M. Night Shyamalan, who is not here. But I'm done. I'm over the Shyamalan thing. I you know, I'll go see them for free if Universal wants to keep sending us. Like, sure, but like, I'm certainly not giving his projects any money. I think hang it up for 10 more years maybe, and work on until you find a thing that's like worth actually doing. Because you seem like you're out. You know.
I feels as though his time has passed on. He has aged out of possibility of making good movies. He's become one of the old. I'm trying to make like an old comparison.
Yeah, you're getting there. I feel bad because like we started this off being like, yeah, he's been kind of a punching bag, and then we dumped on him for how long is this? Almost 10, 12 minutes. So. Yeah, look, that it is what it is. I don't think anyone's going to really be surprised that the reviews for this aren't super positive. It's not a terrible movie. It's just not worth your time.
As I said, as far as like, you know, his worst movies are concerned, it's like there's a very, very like low floor for those.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was weird because for the first half hour, the way that the characters were talking and interacting, I was like, this is on par with like The Happening. Like, I was thinking that for the first half hour.
It's some of the worst dialogue. Yeah,
it certainly like recovers at least a little bit, but not too much. Again, not enough to save the whole movie, but to the point where it's not that like legendarily bad.
There is a character in this movie named Mid-Size Sedan, and it's not funny. like at all. It's just stupid. And it also just makes M. Night Shyamalan, who wrote the script, seem super out of touch.
Yeah. The kid in the movie, his little quirk is that he goes around and asks everybody what their name and occupation is. And I'm like, gay. I don't want. Why are you doing that? Only so that way.
Yeah, it's a plot device.
Yeah.
No character is just like a character. They only have certain traits to serve some sort of purpose in the plot later on, and it's not ever satisfying or good. I think, do you want to just end this with like a out of 5 rating?
Yeah, I would say like out of 5, I would give this maybe like a 2.
I'd say I was gonna say exactly 2. Yeah.
Yeah, like again, like just like a kind of a normal bad underwhelming movie. Like nothing. It's not Space Jam.
It's not Space Jam: A New Legacy, which is hands down the worst movie to be released this year. It's just unspectacular.
Yeah. I'd also say just in terms of like other horror movies that came out this year, I'm like, I certainly didn't hate it as much as The Forever Purge. I challenge a movie to come out this year that I'll hate as much as The Forever Purge.
I'm really glad I didn't go with you guys to that. If you guys want to hear Mike and Jack's review of The Forever Purge, it is up on our podcast feed if you're watching this on YouTube. In the meantime, we do a show. Right now it's monthly, but typically we do it every 2 weeks. We just did an episode on... Can't even think of the name of it. The Terminator. Yeah. We did that with the Vericon Video Voice, and that was a fun one. You can find that on twitch.tv/armroulette. You can go to youtube.com and look up Random Movie Roulette, or you can search Random Movie Roulette on any podcast service. We're on fucking all of them now. Also, shout out to our homies in Bolivia and fucking El Salvador and the Philippines that apparently seem to really like the show. We really appreciate it. We love the support. Reach out to us if there is a way for you guys to do that from where you're at. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you guys for joining us, for listening. We'll be back relatively soon with an episode on Howard the Duck. So buckle up for that one. Also,
the Duck.
If you like this, you want to support the show, check out patreon.com/armroulette. You get yourself some bonus content, some commentaries for each episode of the main show that we do, and occasional other fun bonus content offerings too. So be sure to check that out. Thank you guys for joining us, and we hope we'll see you with Howard the Duck.
Bye.